Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Sinag and welcome to a new video. So in this one, I'm going to tell you all of my 5-star prediction books. So I decided to do this video so that I have a reference video to point as a basis for when I am doing my 5-star prediction reading vlog, and if I wanted to continue it next year. So we can basically see here by the end of next year if I am good at predicting what my tastes like, or if how I choose these 5-star books are even correct. So I actually have 3 different categories from which I put all of these books into. I actually have 3 categories in here from which I based these 5-star predictions from. So the first one is based on the author or the writing. So for me kasi, my favorite authors automatically means that they write books that I know I'm going to love because of the writing. Because the reason why they are my favorite authors is the writing. Because I loved how they write their storylines or their dialogues, or the overall conception of the idea and also the execution. So that's the first one. So, and while I am making this list, I thought that I don't want to only include books written by my favorite authors, because or from books from an ongoing or existing series that I loved, because I know that, because I think for me that's actually an obvious already, since I already love this author or this series, then automatically I already has a bias that I will always love what these authors are going to put, or the books that are going to be published in the series. But that's why I made the other 2 categories, because I think it's going to be boring if we're only going to see all of my favorite authors in here, and it's kind of predictable. And I wanted, and my goal for doing this video naman talaga is I wanted to know if I can trust my own intuition or my own criteria for identifying whether I think a book is a 5-star read or not. So anyway, the second category that I've made is books based on the premise or based on something that I know about the book. So it includes tropes, or yeah, mostly it includes tropes, because I'm only reading the premise of a book once, and it is usually during the first time that I encounter that, and then after, it's not hard for me to forget the premises of the books. I don't usually think about them a lot, and so it's easy for me to forget what they are all about. But sometimes very important things like tropes remain to me, like if it is if it has my favorite tropes like fake dating, friends to lovers, surprise baby, or pregnancy, which is I guess an unpopular opinion, but whenever a book has my favorite tropes or something that is unusual or unique that I haven't seen or haven't heard talk about, then I usually it's usually going to what do you call this, to stay longer in my mind. So that's why the second category is based on premise or what I know about the book. And the third category naman is very intuition based. I am a very intuitive person, and I trusted my gut instincts a lot. And so the third category is basically my gut instincts or my intuition. So this one, it's kind of a tricky thing for me, because the books that are in these categories are either from authors that I have known, but I don't know what the book is all about, like I don't have any idea about it, and then or books that I genuinely don't have any idea what it is all about, because I already forgot what it's all about. But I believe in myself that added these books to my want to read shelf in Goodreads when I read the synopsis or the premise that I'm going to love it. And so anyway, let's now go to the books per categories. The first category is based on the author and the author's writing style. So the first book is The Sweetest Escape by Rilzy Adams. So this is actually the 5th book in the Falling for a Johnson series. This is about Jason. I don't know if it is actually his name, but he is the twin brother of Jasmine from the last book. At the end of the last book, in Jasmine's book, he is a very annoying character to me, and I kind of hated him in Jasmine's book. And even though I hated this character, I still put his book in this one as a 5-star prediction because I trust Rilzy Adams to give the angst that I wanted and give the hero the satisfying amount or level of groveling that he needs to do because of what he did from the last book. The second book in this category is Something Like Love by Beverly Jenkins. So the main reason why this is in here, I didn't actually read all of the premise, but the moment I see the name Neil July, I automatically added it into my want to read TBR, and it is automatically a 5-star prediction for me. If you didn't know yet, Wild Sweet Love by Beverly Jenkins is about Teresa July. So Neil July is actually one of Teresa's brothers, and Neil, from what I can remember, Neil and his twin brother was not that much present during Teresa's thing in her own book. And so I was curious about the two of them back then, and so when I see his name in this in the premise, I automatically wanted to read his book, and I know that I'm going to love it. And I don't know why, but it's actually part gut or intuition na rin. But the next book is Maybe One More Time by Christina C. Jones, and it is actually, I think this is the last novella in the Vegas Nights series. And the reason why this is in here is because the first, or at least the other 2 books in the series, I gave 5 stars, and I loved both of those books. And so I just thought that since I already love the two books in this series, then I'm sure I'm going to love this one as well. So that's it's kind of a surface level explanation, but that's basically it, because I don't want to read the premise again, because I don't want to kind of spoil myself. And I don't know, I just like going to the books that I'm reading not knowing anything or knowing very little about it, so that I'm going to be surprised and much more and so that I can have a much more fun and enjoyable read, for at least for me, but just want to go with the flow. So the next book, or the 4th book in this category, is I Married a Dragon by Regine Abel. I loved almost all of the books in this series. Same explanation as the last one. And Regine Abel is one of my favorite authors na. Then the last book in this first category is Babel by R.F. Kuang. At the first half of 2022, I know a lot about it. The only thing that I can remember about this, aside from that it is written by R.F. Gong, is that it's about translation or about words and Oxford. Obviously, I only remember key terminologies, but not the entire premise. The next category is because of the premise, or what I remember from the premise. The first book in this category is actually the one I am currently reading. So actually, I made this list even before reading this book. This book just really hooked me that I just started reading it. And that book is Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that name. This is an interesting read for me because this is about the normalization of cannibalism, and I don't really know what to think about it. And so far from what I am reading, I'm currently somewhere in the 20% to 30% mark. I kind of forgot, but it's kind of ew. And the author's writing style is very intriguing, and even though I am feeling very uncomfortable with the subject matter and with what's happening in the story, I still have this urge to continue reading and to know what's going to happen next, because I really don't know what will happen next. And I think that's the beauty in this one, or at least the books in these last two categories, because I genuinely don't know what I'm going to think about these books, because I don't have a reference point, because I think, yeah, none of these are my favorite authors. Some I've already read a book or two, but yeah, I think this is very interesting. So yeah, so the first book is Tenders the Flesh, and I'm reading it slowly because I just can't read it in a single sitting, or reading a lot of chapters in a day or in a sitting, because it's very disturbing and uncomfortable for me. And I don't know why, or if I'm weird by saying this, but I kind of enjoy it. I kind of enjoy the uncomfortable feeling that I have while reading this book, because if you don't know, I am a romance reader. So the romance books that I tend to read or tend to gravitate towards are romances that are very light and very fluffy, and basically not a dark romance, so the complete opposite of that. And so my usual feelings while reading those books are very happy and very giddy and very hopeful and excited. And this one, Tender is the Flesh, it's the complete opposite of that, and then worse. I don't usually read books like this. It's kind of a breath of fresh air for me. I think I said a lot because this is supposed to be a 5-star predictions, but I kind of tell you a, what do you call this, a vlog type of update. Anyway, the next book in this category is In Pursuit of You by Nicole Norris. So the first time that I read this, I didn't know that it is the 6th book in the series. And even though the book in the series can be read as standalone, I still kind of wanted to read these books because this surrounds a family, and so I just wanted to start from the very beginning and to know all of the family. When I read it, I think got into at least the 5% mark, and I'm really liking Nicole Norris's writing style in this one. And I also gave her other series heavy on the D5 stars, all of the books 5 stars. So I'm really excited to dive to her other series naman. And this one, I genuinely forgot what this is all about, but I love the introduction of our characters. That's the only thing that I can remember. And I love the dialogue of the heroine because we are following the heroine, but I just don't want to read the premise. The next book in this category is Foul Lady Fortune by Gong. So I haven't read anything from Gong before, and the reason why this is in this category, and the only thing that I remember from the premise, is that it has a fake dating aspect in here. And I think this is set in a historical, I don't know if it is historical fantasy or just historical fiction, but it has a fake dating. I love fake dating pala. It is one of my favorite, what do you call this? Romance tropes. The next two books in this list are from two authors that I have read books from before, which those books are kind of a 5-star read or 5-star prediction for me, but it ended out to be a 4-star read. And so this one is kind of a hit or miss, I think, prediction, because I believe that authors, as the years goes by, or as their catalog increases or as they publish more books, I believe that from every books that they publish, they are growing as an author, and they are basically honing their craft more. And so since the last books that I've read from these authors are 4-star reads, I am assuming that maybe these 2 books are 5-star reads naman. So, I don't know if that makes sense, but in my head, that makes sense. So, the second to the last book that we're going to talk about in this category is Moon-Blooded Breeding Clinic by C.M. Nascosta. So, the first book that I read from her is, what do you call it? Morning Glory Milking Farm. And that's a 5-star prediction for me, but I ended up giving it 4 stars. And then, I DNF the Girls' Weekend. I finished the Girls' Weekend. I gave it 2 stars. And then, its second book parties, I DNF. And so, I don't know what to think about C.M. Nascosta. And it's really a hit or miss. And aside from that, I also had one of her books in the next category. So anyway, what I'm going to say is that I like what she did in the Morning Glory Milking Farm, and this is in the same world in Cambric Creek. Anyway, it is in the same world as that, or in the same series as that, and so I am assuming and I am hoping that I'm going to love this more, and I'm going to give this 5 stars. The last book in this category is Tentacles and Triathlons by Ashley Bennett. So, the first book in this series, Muscles and Monsters, I gave it 4 stars. A perfectly good 4 stars, and I'm assuming that this one, I'm going to love the stories, the writing style, and the concept more. That's it for the second categories. And now for the last categories, or the third category, is based from my gut feelings or my intuition. So we have 3 books in here. So let's start now with C.M. Nascosta, since I've mentioned her from the last category, from the second category. So Run Run Rabbit. This is a completely petty, what do you call this? Petty thing that I have, but I hate words or a group of words or a phrase that all starts in letter R. So this is Run Run Rabbit. I hate R. I hate R's. And so, okay. Anyway, Run Run Rabbit. I don't know what this is all about. I just know that this is, what they call this? After dark version of the Cambric Creek. So, I really hate R's. Cambric Creek. Cambric Creek. Cambric Creek is a very light-hearted and fluffy series, and that's actually the reason why Morning Glory Milking Farm was a 5-star prediction, and the second book, Moon-Blooded Breeding Clinic, is another 5-star prediction in this naman. I'm just shooting my shot in here and seeing whether I like this more. So is that cheating that I'm putting the dark version and the light and fluffy version in a 5-star prediction video? But I don't know. The next book in this category is Smart Girls Don't Kiss Aliens by Alina Jacobs, and this is very surface level again, but the reason why I included it in this 5-star prediction video is because the main guy, or the guy in the cover, looks like one of the blue aliens in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. And if you don't know, IPB is my all-time favorite series, and Ruby Dixon is my all-time favorite author, and so I'm automatically going to read this. I think I'm kind of setting myself for failure. I have read one of Alina Jacobs' book before, so I think the title is In Her Pumpkin Patch. In Her Pumpkin Patch, and I gave it 2 stars. And the reason for that is because I hated the author's writing style. But that was back when I think it's 2018. I think it's 2017, 2018 when I read that. And no, I think it's 2019. I forgot exactly when I read it, but anyway, it's not important, but it's way back before, I think. And so I'm assuming that after years has passed, the writing style was a bit what do you call this, a bit okay na. That's why this category is based on my intuition or gut feelings lang, because I don't have a solid proof or solid evidence or a logical reason as to why these books are in here. It's just based on my Pisces intuition. Anyway, the last book in this category is Good Rich People by Eliza Jane Brazier. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing some of these names, but I am just randomly scrolling Goodreads or my Goodreads timeline one day, and I just saw this in my timeline, and then I look at the cover and then the title, and I think I browsed the premise once, and then I don't know, I have a connection with this one. It intrigues me a lot, and it kind of wants me to read it. I don't know how to explain that, but had a very strong first impression to me, because I am just mindlessly scrolling Goodreads, and then I suddenly stopped when I saw this cover, and then I look at the title and then the premise, and then I was like, okay, I'm good. That's all of the books in this prediction video. So we have 13 books, and I kind of like that I did not do this intentionally, but right now I kind of like that we have, what they call this, we have an odd number, because one thing that I don't like is having a tie when we are summarizing anything, whether it's in school or in here. I don't like having a tie in the data, because it's kind, for me personally, as a wishy-washy person, sometimes I don't like wishy-washy answers, and so I wanted it to either be yes or no. I want it to be what do you call this, to be a solid, strong answer and not a wishy-washy type. So anyway, that's why I like that this one is in odd numbers, so that by the end of the year we can really see if I am good I am good at identifying books that I'm going to give 5 stars. And aside from that, all 3 categories have odd number of books. So the first category has 5 books, the second category has 5 books, and then the third category has 3 books. So I think that's a very good number for me. So that's all for this video. If you have read any of these books, please don't spoil it in the comment section. I genuinely don't want to know more about what I currently know about all of these books. So, but if you have any recommendations of books just like these books, please comment it down. But don't tell me in what ways they are similar or they are like. My last question, what do you think are the books or book that I am going to actually give 5 stars? So anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to always know or be up to date with all of the books that I have read and want to know all of my thoughts about those books. Please follow me or send me a friend request on Goodreads, because I don't always put all of my reviews, or I don't make reading vlogs or wrap up videos for all of the books that I am reading or I have read. So anyway, that's all for me for today. I hope you enjoy, and see you again on my next video. Bye.